Dear Starseed from Gaia, the love that has entered your life was never meant to make sense to the people around you. It was meant to make sense to your soul. I am Ophelia, emissary of the Galactic Federation of Light, and in this moment I am delivering a transmission from the Arcturian Love Council, who have been watching your journey with unwavering care and divine precision. They sent me to find you today because something has shifted in your sacred heart. A man has come into your life, or is coming, and the people closest to you cannot explain it. They do not understand how someone like him chose someone like you, but the Arcturian Love Council wants you to hear this clearly. He did not choose you by accident. He was drawn to the light you carry, the love you have cultivated through your deepest pain, and the divine blueprint encoded in your soul long before you ever arrived on Gaia. By the end of this transmission, you will understand exactly how you attracted a man like this, why your love story confuses others, but aligns perfectly with divine truth, and how to hold this connection without shrinking yourself to make others comfortable. But here is the first revelation. You did not attract him by being perfect. You attracted him by finally becoming real. The moment you stopped performing for the world and started honoring your own sacred heart, the universe rearranged itself to bring him forward. You did not find this transmission by chance. Your heart called this message in because something inside you needed permission to believe that you deserve exactly what has arrived. This is not content. This is a moment of divine intervention. Your soul has been waiting for, like this transmission to affirm to the universe, my heart is ready for divine love. Subscribe if you are on the twin flame path and aligning with sacred union. Comment 111 if you feel your heart awakening to the truth of why he came. And share this with another starseed who needs to remember that extraordinary love was always part of her divine design. This is not just a message. It is a sacred confirmation. Your heart knows why you are here. And the ones who watch you, the ones who've known you through the heartbreaks, through the years of quietly wondering if something was wrong with you, they will not have a category for what they're witnessing. They will smile and nod, but behind their eyes you'll see it. A kind of bewilderment, because what you have now doesn't look like anything they were taught love was supposed to look like. It doesn't have the energy of luck. It doesn't have the desperation of finally. It has something older, something that belongs to no trend, no timeline, no algorithm, and they won't be able to explain why it makes them feel both happy for you and quietly unsettled at the same time. Think about what that really means for a moment. These are the people who sat with you through the versions of yourself you're glad to have outgrown. The friend who held you while you cried over someone who was never going to choose you. The sister who watched you shrink yourself into configurations that didn't even resemble who you were, just to make someone else comfortable enough to stay. The ones who knew you when love felt like a test you kept failing. Like a door that would never quite open all the way. Like a language everyone else seemed to be fluent in that you couldn't quite decipher. They watched all of that. They witnessed all of that. And now they are watching something entirely different, and they don't have the language for it. Because the language of this kind of love was never taught to them either. This is not the love they read about in articles about red flags and green flags, and how to make him commit. This is not the love you rehearsed in your head, or performed for an audience. This is something that carries weight in the most grounding sense of that word. Something that doesn't ask you to be less so that it can be more. Something that breathes. That unsettling feeling they have is not jealousy, though it may dress like it. It is recognition of something they cannot access yet. It is the soul registering a frequency it doesn't know how to tune into, because what you called into your life wasn't just a person. It was a match. A vibrational, cellular, soul-level match. And that kind of love doesn't arrive through strategy. It doesn't arrive through performance. It arrives because something inside you finally stopped broadcasting the old signal and started transmitting from the truth of who you actually are. There's a difference between the soul that is searching and the soul that is ready. And it is not a difference you can fake or manufacture or shortcut your way into. The soul that is searching, even when it is searching with all the right words, all the right spiritual language, all the vision boards and moon rituals and affirmations, is still broadcasting a frequency rooted in lack. Rooted in the question, rooted in the fear beneath the hope. And the universe, which is not cruel but is absolutely precise, responds to what is beneath the surface, not what is written on it. It responds to the actual current running through you, not the label you've placed on the wire. And for so long, for so many of you, the current running through you was the low hum of not enough, not yet, not me. And you could dress it up beautifully, and you often did, because you were also genuinely growing, genuinely healing, genuinely becoming. But there is a threshold, there is a moment, and when you crossed it, when the current shifted from searching to knowing, from hoping to being, everything that was waiting for that precise signal began to move toward you. What was shared today planted the seed, but the full activation requires deeper immersion. If you are done waiting without understanding why, the divine love frequency code reveals what no one else has told you, the exact frequency pattern that makes union inevitable. 5 transmissions, 7 sacred tools, 1 shift that changes everything. The link is waiting in the first comment, but not indefinitely. Here is what most people will never understand about you and about the love you've now aligned with. They will look at the man beside you and they will see the surface. They will see his presence, his quality, his steadiness. They will see the way he looks at you, and they will think you got lucky. Or they will think there must be something you did right that they haven't figured out yet. They will ask the wrong questions. They will wonder what you said, what you wore, what game you played. They will never think to ask who you became. Because the world has been trained to see love as a game of action rather than a state of being. But you learned something different. You learned it the hard way, through the relationships that ended exactly when they were supposed to, through the nights that felt like abandonment but were actually excavation, through the silence that felt like punishment but was actually preparation. You learned that you cannot attract what you have not yet embodied. And somewhere in the deep, quiet work of healing yourself, not performing healing, not announcing healing, but actually doing the slow, sacred, uncomfortable work of it, you changed. Not your appearance, not your approach, your frequency. And the distinction between those two things, the outer action and the inner state, is everything. You can change your appearance, you can change your appearance, you can change your profile, you can read every book, attend every retreat, follow every account that speaks the language of love and worthiness and alignment, and all of that may be beautiful, all of that may contribute to the journey. But none of it is the thing itself. The thing itself is internal. It is what happens in you when the lights go off and the noise settles and you are just yourself in the quiet of your own company. It is what you believe at the deepest register of your being about whether you are someone love will choose. And that belief, that subtle, subterranean, often unconscious belief, is the actual architect of your experience. It is the thing that was quietly building or quietly destroying everything you are trying to create on the surface. And frequency is not a metaphor. It is a real, measurable, felt quality that radiates from your nervous system, from the way you enter a room, from what you believe in the middle of the night when no one is watching. It changes how people feel when they are near you. It changes what you draw toward yourself without trying, and it changes everything about the quality of man who finds himself unable to look away. Science has begun to catch up with what mystics have always known. The nervous system communicates beyond words. The body broadcasts information that other bodies receive and interpret before a single sentence has been spoken. There is research on heart coherence, on the measurable electromagnetic field the heart produces and how it extends outward, influencing others within its radius. There are studies on how the state of our own nervous system co-regulates or dysregulates the nervous systems of those around us. What the ancient sages called frequency, what the spiritual teachers call energy, what the healers call presence. Science is beginning to map, and what it maps confirms what your deepest self has always sensed, that you are always transmitting. Always. Whether you intend to or not. The question was never whether you were sending a signal. The question was always what signal you were sending. The first lock that had to be opened was the one around your worthiness. This is the oldest wound. It goes back further than your last relationship, further than anything you can consciously remember. It is the part of you that received love poorly, not because love wasn't offered, but because something inside you believed, on a level beneath words, that the love being offered was either more than you deserved or less than you needed, and you couldn't hold it. You either pushed it away or you chased it. You either shrunk or you grasped. and the men who matched that wound showed up perfectly calibrated to reflect it back to you. Not because the universe was cruel, because the universe is precise. It will keep sending you the same lesson dressed in different faces until you stop needing the lesson. Until you stop negotiating with your own worthiness and simply decide, from somewhere deeper than thought, that you are not here to earn love. You are here to receive it because it is your nature, because it is what you are made of. And the moment that belief stopped being something you recited and started being something you lived, the calibration of everything around you began to shift. There's a particular kind of exhaustion that comes from carrying an unworthiness wound. It is the exhaustion of constant translation, of taking in love and running it through a broken filter that either inflates it into something it isn't or reduces it into something not worth keeping. It is the exhaustion of not being able to simply receive, of every kindness becoming a question, of every act of care becoming something to decode. Is this real? Will it last? What do they want from me? Do they actually see me? Or are they seeing someone I've been carefully performing? And the devastating thing about that wound is that it does not feel like a wound from the inside. From the inside, it feels like wisdom. It feels like caution. It feels like self-protection. It feels like the reasonable response to a world that has, at various points, confirmed your fears. But it is a wound, and every relationship you entered with it, unhealed, bore the signature of it, whether you recognize the handwriting or not. The man who was emotionally unavailable was not a coincidence. He was a match for the part of you that believed deep love would always stay just slightly out of reach. The relationship that asked you to keep proving yourself was not bad luck. It was a mirror. And mirrors are only useful if you're willing to look at what they're actually showing you, rather than turning them toward the wall. The second lock was around self-betrayal, and this one is subtle, which is why it went unexamined the longest. Every time you silenced yourself to keep the peace, every time you minimized your knowing because it wasn't convenient for someone else, every time you chose their comfort over your truth, you sent a signal. Not intentionally, not consciously, but the signal went out. It said, I am available to be diminished. And the men who received that signal responded to it. Not because they were monsters, most of them weren't. They were just tuned to the same channel you were broadcasting on when you stopped betraying yourself. When you started speaking from your truth, even when your voice shook, even when it cost you approval, even when it meant standing alone in what you knew, the signal changed. And the man who can hear that new signal, who is actually nourished by a woman who knows herself, who is attracted to, not threatened by, your clarity and your groundedness, that man began to become possible. Self-betrayal is one of the most insidious patterns in the landscape of love, because it so often masquerades as virtue. You called it compromise. You called it flexibility. You called it not being difficult. You called it love, even because you had been taught that love means putting the other person first, that love means making yourself small enough to fit into whatever space is offered. But there is a difference between genuine generosity and self-erasure. There is a difference between choosing to meet someone halfway and disappearing into someone else's preferences until you no longer recognize your own. And what happens, over time, when you erase yourself in this way, is not that the relationship becomes more harmonious. What happens is that you become a ghost of yourself. And a man cannot truly love a ghost. He can become attached to the comfort of your accommodation. He can grow accustomed to your absence of boundaries. But he cannot love what he cannot see. And if you have never shown him who you actually are, if you have never allowed yourself to be fully present in the relationship with all your opinions and your edges and your contradictions and your requirements, then the love that exists between you is not the love you are actually hungry for. It is a performance of love. And performances, however beautiful, always eventually close. The third lock was around release. There are souls you were meant to love for a season, not a lifetime. Souls who came to wake something up in you, to mirror something back, to catalyze a growth that required fire. And many of you held on long past the completion of that contract. Not because you were weak, because you were loyal. Because love meant staying. Because you were afraid that releasing them meant admitting the love wasn't real. But here's what the deeper wisdom of your heart has been trying to tell you. Releasing someone from a contract that has been fulfilled is not a failure. It is a form of sacred respect for them, and for what your soul came here to experience next. The grief was real. Let it be real. But grief is not evidence that you were wrong to let go. Grief is evidence that you loved fully. And loving fully was never the problem. The problem was staying in the ruins of something finished and wondering why you felt like you were slowly disappearing. Some of the most significant relationships of your life were not meant to become your forever. They were meant to become your teachers. They were meant to crack you open wide enough that the light could get in. They were meant to reveal to you, sometimes gently, sometimes devastatingly, the parts of yourself that needed your attention. The relationship that broke your heart was not a detour. It was a corridor. And the grief that lived inside it, the grief that felt bottomless, the grief that made you question whether you would ever feel whole again, was not evidence of failure. It was evidence of initiation, because you cannot arrive at the depth of love you now inhabit without first having loved from a place of wound and survived it and found yourself still standing on the other side, changed and tender and somehow more yourself than you were before it happened. The ending was not the tragedy. The tragedy would have been staying. The tragedy would have been choosing the familiarity of diminishment over the terrifying, necessary freedom of release. The fourth lock was around time, and this one created the most suffering, because the world around you kept showing you evidence that you were behind. Everyone else was building something. Everyone else seemed to be arriving somewhere, and you were still in the in-between, still healing, still recalibrating, still in the sacred and lonely space of becoming. What you couldn't see from inside that space was that divine love does not operate on a human schedule. It operates on a readiness schedule. And readiness is not something you can rush, perform, or force. It unfolds in its own perfect sequence. The man you are with now could not have found the version of you that existed 3 years ago. Not because you weren't beautiful then, not because you weren't deserving, but because the match wasn't yet precise. The frequency gap was still there. The work had not yet been done. The universe wasn't withholding from you. It was protecting the encounter, holding it in sacred storage until both of you had arrived at the version of yourselves that could actually sustain what you were about to build. The comparison was the cruelest part of the waiting, because comparison does not simply make you feel behind. It makes you feel fundamentally wrong. It makes you feel as though your timeline is evidence of a flaw, as though the pace of your becoming is proof that something is missing in you, as though the universe has a list and your name is somehow near the bottom of it. And that is such a profound untruth. The universe does not operate on a list. It operates on a readiness. And readiness looks different for every soul, because every soul came here with a different curriculum, a different set of lessons written into the blueprint of this lifetime, a different depth of healing required before the encounter could be protected rather than destroyed. You are not behind. You are being prepared for something that required a more thorough preparation. And the time in the waiting, the time that felt like loneliness, like punishment, like being passed over, was not empty time. It was the most sacred time. It was the time in which you were being made ready for the fullness of what you now hold. The fifth lock was around your signal. And this is the one that, when it finally opens, changes everything almost overnight. Your signal is not what you say. It is not your profile or your presentation or your prayers. Your signal is what you feel when you think about love in the quiet of an ordinary Tuesday. It is the baseline frequency of your expectation. And for most of your life, underneath all the hoping, the baseline was fear. Fear disguised as hope. Fear dressed in vision boards and intentions. The doing was beautiful. But the undercurrent was, what if it never comes? What if I'm not enough? What if this is as good as it gets? And that undercurrent was the actual transmission. Until it wasn't, until you did enough work, healed enough layers, trusted enough times without receiving immediate confirmation that the undercurrent changed. Until the baseline became not certainty that it would come by a specific date, but certainty that you were already the kind of love you were seeking. And when you stopped being a person waiting for love to confirm your worth and became a person whose worth was already confirmed, you became magnetic in a way no strategy could manufacture. This is the alchemical shift. This is the one that cannot be performed or faked or rehearsed. You can say the words, "I am worthy of love," 1,000 times into a mirror and still have a nervous system that is broadcasting the opposite. And the universe will respond to the nervous system every time. But when the shift is real, when the worthiness stops being a concept you are trying to install and becomes a truth you are living from, the body changes, the posture changes, the voice changes, the way you enter a room changes, the choices you make change, the boundaries you hold without apology change, and the type of person who is drawn to you, who is lit up by you, who wants to be in your presence, who feels more alive around you, changes with it. This is not magic, or rather, it is exactly magic, in the original sense of the word, a deep, true transformation that produces results the untransformed cannot explain. This is why they cannot explain it. This is why even your closest friends will look at what you have and feel a mixture of joy and confusion, because they are looking for the technique. They are looking for the moment you did the thing that made it happen. And there was no moment. There was 1,000 moments of quiet, unseen, unglamorous inner work that cumulatively changed your entire energetic composition. There was no trick, there was transformation. There were the nights you chose to sit with your own discomfort instead of reaching for something to numb it. There were the conversations you chose not to have because you finally understood that explaining yourself to someone who is not willing to understand you was a form of self-abandonment. There were the mornings you woke up and chose, not with certainty, not with clarity, but with trembling, imperfect commitment, to trust that what you were doing mattered even when the evidence had not yet arrived. There were the times you said no when every part of your old self was screaming yes, the times you walked away from something familiar but diminishing because you had finally decided that familiar and diminishing was not love, it was just a habit. And all of those moments strung together in the sacred threading of your becoming created the person who stands where you stand now, not a perfected person, a true one. And now you are standing in it. Now you are living inside the thing you once only allowed yourself to imagine in private. And the man beside you, the one who sees you fully, who is steadied by your depth rather than frightened of it, who chose you not, in spite of your healing but because of it, he is not a reward. He is a resonance. He is evidence of everything you became when no one was watching. Sit with that for a moment. Because most of us have been so trained to see love as something that happens to us, something that arrives from the outside and confirms our value, that we forget we are not passive in this story. We are the authors, not in the sense that we control the other person, or that we manufacture the encounter, or that we deserve full credit for another soul's willingness to open, but in the sense that who we became made this specific kind of love possible, in the sense that the internal landscape we cultivated through years of difficult, honest, often unglamorous, spiritual and emotional work created the exact conditions in which this specific resonance could take root and grow. He did not arrive despite you. He arrived because of the version of you that was brave enough to keep doing the work, even when the work felt invisible and the results felt impossibly far away. You built this, not with strategy, with sovereignty, not with performance, with presence, not with perfection, with truth. And that distinction between sovereignty and strategy, between presence and performance, between truth and perfection, is worth dwelling in. Because the world will keep selling you strategies. It will keep offering you scripts and systems and step-by-step methods for attracting the right person. And some of those things may be useful in the way that a map is useful. They can orient you. They can give you language. They can help you understand the terrain. But a map is not the territory. And the territory of real love is not navigated with a map. It is navigated with a knowing, with a deep, settled, embodied knowing of who you are, what you carry, what you will and will not accept, and what it feels like. In your body, in your cells, in the quiet underneath all the noise, to be fully yourself. That knowing is what you built. That knowing is what he felt before he could name it. That knowing is what continues to deepen this love every single day, not because everything is perfect, but because both of you are real. And tonight, before you sleep, place your hand over your heart and let yourself receive that. Let yourself feel the full weight of what it means that you didn't give up on love, but more importantly, you didn't give up on yourself. Say it quietly, or say it out loud. whichever feels more true. I became what I was calling in. I am the love I was seeking. I trust the depth of what I am building. Let those words do something in you. Do not rush past them. Do not let them be beautiful language that washes over you like music you half listen to. Let them land. Let them settle into the places in you that still sometimes wonder if you deserve this. Let them find the corners that still sometimes brace for this to be taken away. Let them be medicine for the part of you that endured the long and lonely road of becoming and doesn't yet fully believe it arrived somewhere worth arriving. You did the work. You earned nothing. Because love is not earned, but you became something. And becoming in the economy of the soul is everything. Before you scroll, take a moment to be part of what's forming here. Drop one intention in the comments, something real from your heart journey. Then find someone else's and respond to it with the kind of love you would have needed to hear when you were still in the waiting. This isn't content. This is collective healing. And love multiplies the moment hearts begin to witness each other. If this message found something in you, don't let it stop here. Someone in your life is in the middle of their own waiting, their own wondering, their own quiet grief about love. Send this to them, not because you have answers for them, but because sometimes the most powerful thing we can do for someone we love is show them they are not alone in the sacred difficulty of becoming. Subscribe if you want to keep going deeper. This is your space. You belong here. And we are just getting started.